Welcome back to the RoleCall RP channel, your favorite place to visit whenever you want to hear all the tea of what we think about after the stream. Kai, what do you think?
I think that energy, I knew it was coming, but it's still throwing me off. That's what I think. But I do actually think that the session went really well.
I think the session went very well.
Yeah, I mean, there was never a lull. There was never a moment where I was like, I can probably be. If this were an extended edition, I probably would cut that, and that part. It's like, nah, it's all important. There was tension. There was drama. Y'all almost drowned. So what did you think about that little adventure down a flash flood, roaring 1,000-foot wide river?
If I didn't roll 4 natural 20s, that would have been impossible.
It was.
I rolled 4 natural 20s somehow.
I don't know if
like
you've ever...
Like a freaking superhero.
I don't know if you've ever tried to row across a river in the middle of a flash flood, but it's around that difficult.
It's next to impossible.
Yeah.
And honestly, I wasn't sure we were gonna pull it off. I think there was a small part of me that was like, either one of us could die, or all of us could die.
Yeah. Yeah, when I was making this thing, I was just thinking about the logistics. I was like, okay, you people you're very good at what you do. What are the DCs for something like this? And every time I was like, no, these things, they gotta be high.
Like, I was really, really into it. There was one part, though, that I was a little like, I don't know about that. Like, when you said that, like, Ismark and Irina, like, jumped off the boat, and then they, like, ran on top of the log. They, like, ran across the log.
This tree goes horizontal, and their eyes go wide. Shit! And slams into the boat and begins dragging them down. Half of it splinters upward. All right, cut the rope, cut the rope! They cut the rope and then jump on the tree and then begin to run across this tree. They are probably around like 100 feet away from the other side of the shore. And this tree is teetering and tottering. So you ever seen like those sports where, like, you know, you're running on a log and like you're trying to keep out? They're basically doing that right now.
Oh my gosh. This is not great. And I'm over here like, really?
Well, they did, in my defense, they didn't succeed at that. That was something that they were attempting to do, and I am aware of how hard and impossible that is just by trying to run on a log when there isn't a frickin'
like the log
going.
would be just spinning constantly.
Yeah. So
and like flipping all over the place.
Yeah. So the way that I interpret how that scene happened is they got like 2 steps in before they all fell, and they started like clawing along the side of the log. And yeah, because Irina was the only one that succeeded, because she be dexterous. And it was Irina. And then Esmeralda and Ismark were almost swept away, but then the last second, Ismark, he got his moment. He's got his moment to be on top of the world. And you saved Octavio's life. And Ismark and Zuleika's life. Nothing really more to say about that. Everyone else would have let them be washed away, but
No,
perseverance.
we can't.
Yeah, that was epic. That moment of Rictavio and Esmeralda being like, it's impossible. There's no way. Just let him go.
Just let him go.
Yeah, we can't. We can't.
Never.
And Irina and Serena being like, no! And Ismark looks back at everyone in this quick second decision as Zuleika is being dragged under the water. And he looks at you, Serena. And he smiles.
Don't do it, you idiot.
Takes out the dagger and cuts the rope and goes back into the water.
Ismark!
And everyone's eyes go wide. And
she's gonna immediately run as far as she can down to follow.
Irina does the same. As Von Richten and Esmeralda put their hand on both their shoulders. There's no way you can catch up to them. It's all up to them now. Are you heeding their warning, or are you just gonna run?
Nah, she's running.
Yeah. And Irina runs alongside you. But it isn't long before the brown waters and the thick fog starts to overtake their form. Go ahead and make me a perception check with this. Actually, just normal, because Irina is helping you.
A nat 20! Ah!
That is 3 nat 20s in a
I rolled 3
row.
natural 20s.
Okay. And then you rolling another natural 20 to see if you can spot them.
I be rolling them natural 20s like they're nothing.
Yeah.
Okay. Like I've been saving them up.
You were on
For a rainy day.
For a rainy day. This was the rainy day for those nat 20s to come out. I think, if I'm not mistaken, so there's 4 nat 20s in the session, and 3 of them you rolled in a row.
Pretty much in a row.
So,
like, it wasn't exactly in a row, but it was like close to back to back.
2 definitely were. You definitely rolled 2 nat 20s in a row. And that was like the very beginning. When you were trying to row and make your way across. And Zuleika was just being lost. And that was epic. That was really, that's the word to describe it. Like how razor's edge close that whole thing felt, and it could have gone either way. It was just constantly teetering back and forth.
It could have been bad, yeah. And when I had to choose between Rictavio and Zuleika, like I thought, I'm like, man, if I help Zuleika, Rictavio's dead. But if I help Rictavio, I mean, Zuleika might be dead too because she can't swim. But I decided to take the chance because I'm like, well, at least Zuleika has a good body. She's strong. She has a better shot.
Yeah.
Than Van Richten.
Yeah, and I think that totally makes sense. Van Richten's an older fellow, and he was pretty banged
And what is he
up.
gonna do?
Yeah.
Cast like a bunch of like spells like what? Invisibility? Like that's not gonna help.
The only thing he had was freedom of movement, which would have helped him a little bit, but I don't think it would have helped him enough. Like I would, of course,
enough.
I of course would have rolled to see what would have happened, but I'm pretty sure he would have died if you hadn't saved him, because D&D suffocation equals death. Yeah, man, those rapids, they weren't no joke. Yeah, it was meant to be deadly, and you all got out by the skin of your teeth.
I mean, the nat 20s, the game has decided, the dice gods have decided to have mercy upon me today. They want me to continue the journey with these characters.
Yeah, and may this be a lesson to you at home, boys and girls. If there is a flash flood and there's a distance between you and that flash flood, don't try to swim through the flood. Chances are you're gonna die if you do that. So just let the vampires eat you. It's less dangerous.
Unless you roll nat 20s for a living.
Yep. Ooh, yeah. If that was like the hot cocoa that's been perfectly mixed and's got the marshmallows inside, we ended up with
the action.
Yeah, we got a big helping of whipped cream and a little cherry on top at the tower with the moment that we have all been waiting for.
Serena's conversation with Esmeralda. Look, we've been waiting for that conversation for months.
Yeah,
they haven't really had the time to sit down and talk to each other. And I know that Esmeralda's been going through a lot. And I mean, that conversation needed to happen.
Yeah, clearly. Yeah, you needed to have more RP time with Esmeralda, so I'm so happy that happened. And then some other stuff happened
and also,
after that.
And the other things happened after that. Also, Serena had to vibe check Esmeralda.
Yeah,
being like,
not
"Hey, I see you looking at." No.
Yeah, I mean, not to cut that moment like short. All sarcasm aside, that was a very good moment because you haven't gotten a lot of time to really talk to Esmeralda and really get a chance to know her.
Really.
She's always just been this stoic vampire hunter. I think it was like the first time really that we really got to see her as like just a person. Like,
right.
She's
Instead
always,
of just like an information or like a hunter or something like that.
She's always just been that symbol of strength for the hunt, and she came in half dead, and then you saved her, and then she immediately rode off and saved Irina. And then after that, she was, constantly just being that really brash and harsh and strong self. Now we're gonna finally get to see no, she is just a person. This was just so many highs. Like, that moment was so amazing. That talk was so great. And you talking about your spiders and consoling her and making her feel
I know
better.
Serena's traumatizing experience with a spider.
Yeah.
One time when I was little, I was having a bad dream, and I woke up and it was like really early morning, but when I opened my eyes, instead of seeing the ceiling, I saw this giant spider above my head. And I freaked out. I screamed, and the spider jumped in my hair, and I was like flinging myself all over the place, and I was frantic looking for this spider, and I was like shaking my hair, and finally the spider jumped like off of me and onto the ground, and then I tried beating it with like a broom, and then it escaped into like a hole in the wall, and then I couldn't sleep in my room for like a week because I couldn't find the spider to kill it.
And that was hilarious. That was so funny. I loved it.
That moment is actually based on a true story.
Ooh.
What happened to me as a kid. I'm not like traumatized by spiders because of it, but like I did wake up early one morning and there was a spider like this close to my head, and I freaked out.
Eesh. That would be startling.
So,
how old were you?
I was like 8.
Ooh, no.
I wasn't a fan.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Like luckily it was like a Saturday morning. But also unfortunately it was a Saturday morning because I woke up early. And anyway.
Yeah. Even though that moment was so great, and that moment with Esmeralda is something that I'm going to remember and is something that's going to carry forward. I mean, I don't think we can really argue the moment that came after that being the highlight. Like,
one of the more memorable moments of the campaign, possibly.
Yeah, just probably. We'll see. Maybe top 10. I am so pleased with how naturally that happened.
I wasn't sure how it was gonna go. And honestly, I wasn't sure if I wanted to breach the subject at that moment, because in the beginning of the conversation, it started out with them talking about how they've both changed since the beginning of the session. And it could have gone in the direction of Ismark needing to become stronger. And honestly, that's how I intended that conversation to go. But the more that they talk, the more it just kind of naturally, leaned towards their relationship.
Yeah, and I mean, that's where I was at too when I was listening, thinking about, like how they both had changed, because that is where it started, was as often romantic moments do, the moment of weakness, that moment of like, oh, like I just need to be real for a sec. And then things just kind of naturally evolved from there.
Just
like
kind of snowball. Yeah.
And it was so organic. Like, again, I wasn't really pushing for anything. I wasn't really hoping for anything. Like, it was just constant reaction. Mm-hmm. And it happened so organically. And it was beautiful. Like, you can't.
It was really sweet.
You can't plan that. Like, that was.
I didn't plan that.
Yeah, no. that was just the moment. That was just yeah.
That's when it happened. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's no more will they, won't they. Now they got to lay in the bed that they made.
Now it's how they.
Yeah. Now they got to lay in the bed that they've made and see where all that goes.
Yep.
Because they're happy now. They had that moment of acknowledgement. Like, not to say that everything's good now. Of course, there are still problems, but
between them,
there's something good finally. Like, it's one of those moments where it's just been so gritty and dark and hopeless, but like now there's actually just something good, which provides a nice contrast to what's been happening in the world around them, I think.
Yeah, and also, so you messaged me before the session of like, do you want like some actual like downtime, or do you want to like just keep going to the castle? And I'm like, are you kidding me? I don't want to keep going to the castle. We've been going 1,000 miles an hour for the past like 5 sessions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, we need to breathe a little bit. And I need to read my book, and that's what's really important to me. Luckily, having 7 days to rest, it'll do the characters some good, and it certainly allowed this situation to happen because this needed to happen eventually. And I thought about it, I'm like, well, do I want to have this conversation this session, or do I want to have it next session? And it ended up it turned out to be this session.
Yep.
At least the beginning. And now we can vibe check Esmeralda and be like, back up. Back up.
Yep.
You looking at my man? Not allowed. Go look somewhere else. Go find new man. This is mine.
Oh man.
Yeah, poor Esmeralda. She tried.
Poor Esmeralda, indeed.
She
well,
tried so hard, got so far, but in the end, it doesn't really matter because Serena's the main character. What are you gonna do?
Yeah. What are you gonna do? She had no chance. She had that little moment of showing interest, and I suppose.
And Serena just went, nope.
A choice was made, and it was made apparent this session that Serena sees Ismark a little differently than the rest of her peeps.
Oh, really?
Yeah. At the time of this recording, Tasha's Cauldron of anything. Tasha's Cauldron of anything.
Anything.
Kinda. It's everything. So everything is anything. So, there are some sidekick rules in there that are actually very close to what I gave Irina and Ismark, but they're slightly different, and I think a little better and a little more powerful. So I gave Nola a choice to pick a sidekick from the cast before her, and she chose Ismark for obvious reasons. And so
it just made the most sense narratively.
Yeah,
and he was in the most need to have a power up because he was really weak.
Yeah,
a little too weak.
Yeah, I by the way, I didn't upgrade his stuff for this session because the moment hadn't happened yet. So
it did make sense.
So that little stint in the river is probably the last time you're gonna see Ismark in his former state. I'll call it.
Oh.
So you'll have.
Is he gonna be super mega ultra buff next time?
Maybe. There's some stuff in store, and we'll see what happens with all that. But yeah, I have some plans. So yeah, you've got yourself a sidekick, which also kind of sausages made means that we're gonna be focusing a little more on Ismark than the rest of the cast, just because last session I realized pretty quickly that we can't focus on everyone. It's just not.
Of course.
Yeah.
There's too many people.
There's 5 significant NPCs. We need to focus on Serena mainly. So it was basically like, okay, we can flesh out one of these to its maximum potential, and of course, Ismark seems like the natural choice.
I already said this in another after show that there's only 3 characters in this entire campaign I really care about, and it's Ismark, Irina, and Strahd. Outside of those 3, they're not as important.
All right.
Okay. So
That's
when you
tier
asked
one.
me the side, so when you asked me, I'm like, which sidekick are you gonna pick? Of course, I was like, either Ismark or Irina, and
No,
I
pick
decided
Strahd.
Strahd's gonna be my sidekick. Instead of me working for him, he works for me. Wow, that'd be a different campaign.
That would be a very different camp. Who knows how this campaign will end, though? We'll see.
Da-da-da. But yeah, I knew I wanted to pick Ismark or Irina, and I was like, it has to be Ismark. It just makes the most sense.
Yeah, there's been so much build-up, but
Yeah.
I wanted to give you the choice because, of course, like I don't like. There's been some JRPGs that I've played. Tales of Symphonia comes to mind, which is a.
Ooh, I like Tales of Symphonia.
Yeah, it's you. So you've played it. So
Yeah.
Lloyd and Colette, obviously the couple that is trying to be put together. But if you treat Colette like absolute garbage throughout the whole game, you can choose another love interest. So, like, as a gamer, quote unquote, using that term quite ironically, I appreciate choice. I appreciate being able to say, like, no, I actually want to pursue this thing, even though narratively this thing makes the most sense because I want to be in control. And D&D is a game, so I wanted to give you that moment of choice. Because, of course, if you had chosen, like, Rictavio or Esmeralda or Zuleika as your sidekick...
Rictavio would have been an awkward choice. Like, why?
Yeah, we would have gotten really deep into them and established them further and all that. So it wouldn't have been a wasted choice. And I just want to let you know that, so that not to make you feel like it was a non-choice. Like this did actually have impact, and I was prepared to expand outward depending on how you chose. But I do agree that Ismark does make the most. Ismark is the Colette of the situation. Just clearly the narrative is pushing those two characters together, and that's unlike Tales of Symphonia, we're most likely not going to play through this again to see what happens if we diverge on this other path.
Right. Well, I mean, the thing about the whole Ismark Serena thing is that was not planned from the beginning.
No.
We did not plan for them to like develop feelings for each other. It just kind of happened throughout the story.
Yeah.
I think there was kind of a cataclysm moment where that kind of began, with that sparked things between them, but like that was not, we didn't think of this at episode 1.
Yeah, no.
You know?
I mean, you had no idea what you were really getting into episode 1, other than, hey, this is that continuation of that thing that we did on Halloween, and you were like, oh, cool, let's do it, and then off to the races we went. Met a lone baron burgomaster at a bar, not knowing what the futures that you had in store with this NPC. It's so weird to think back, you know, like, because when we were talking about differences and things like that, I did think back to just that initial encounter with Ismark, and just like as a game standpoint, me like struggling to figure out who Ismark was just in that moment, trying to find his voice and all that stuff, to versus where we are now. It's like, man, it's D&D.
Yeah.
We've come so...
Yeah, D&D.
Yeah.
It was such a nice moment.
Yeah, it was so wonderful. And I'm sure people are going to be happy with it. I can think of 2 people in particular that are probably going to be very happy.
They're probably going to fangirl over it. But yeah, I wasn't sure whether I wanted to continue pushing, because there was definitely a moment where I could have had Serena draw back.
Yeah.
And just kind of refuse outright.
Totally.
But then I thought, like, well, despite like Serena thinking like this is not a good idea, you know, I need to go home and I don't want to get myself involved in this and blah 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 blah. At the end of the day, I was just like, you know what? Let's go for it. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's give them this.
Okay.
Yeah, I was absolutely letting you take the helm on that entire conversation. It's like, all right, I'm not gonna push anything, but let's see where this goes. And there we go.
Yeah, I could definitely sense that you were giving me opportunities.
Yeah, of course. That's all I do as a DM. I'm just supposed to facilitate things.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Fine. Yeah. Okay. You did your job. Great. But like that's no. I mean, in that conversation in particular.
Yeah.
You weren't trying to lead me down anywhere.
Yeah.
In particular.
Yeah.
It like I I began the conversation, and Serena definitely was the one that brought up the thing that like they were dancing around something.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah. And honestly, I was trepidatious too for Ismark, and I was thinking like, oh, like would he like try to shut this down and whatnot? And then just like as it went on, I was like, nah. Like it just became so obvious in that moment. Like, you know, we didn't plan it, but it just became so clear. It's like, no, this is it. This is clearly this is it.
Like they've had these feelings for a while.
Yeah. We don't need to have an anime moment where they're about
no,
they're about to confess to each other, and then someone walks in on them.
Or someone just wakes up and be like, what's happening here? Nothing, we're just having a conversation. Good night.
Yep, exactly. Just the classic romantic scene and that's exactly what I was thinking, because of course I consider these things just to try to keep it going, and then I was like, no, those things piss me off. Like when there was
hey, she rolled a nat 20 to check if nobody's awake. Nobody's awake.
Yep, okay. And that was the beginning of me realizing that, okay, this is naturally going that way.
Yeah,
because that nat 20 was the thing. I was like, yeah, no, they're.
This is the moment.
Yeah, they're asleep.
This is a good time.
There's no interruptions, because I decree this is nat 20. You know this. Serena knows this, and man, D&D.
Yep, honestly, once I heard that, I was like, this is an this is an opportunity. This is an opportune moment.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the conversation went. So now, yay.
Yep. And then we took it from there.
Mm-hmm.
And now we have no idea what happens next, but we do know.
Yeah, now we have no idea what happens next. I mean, I still, Serena has not thought of this yet. Nola's brain has still thought of like, let's just exodus everyone out of Barovia into Ramel.
Mm-hmm.
It solves the problem.
Let my people go. All right. Yeah.
No idea how we're gonna do that though.
I wish you luck on that endeavor. Because I
didn't really plan for Serena to become Moses.
But here she is, being the savior, the hero that Barovia needs. Poor Casimir.
Poor Casimir. Casimir, when you told me that the Raven innkeeper was walking along the road, I literally had like a Doctor Strange like mind moment of like the ravens. And she like looks around, see if anybody else is
Make a perception check
around.
You see, sitting alone on on Esmeralda's cart, a raven that seems to be eyeing you very closely.
Wait! Mirror. The ravens can get Casimir. Casimir's back on the mountain. He's still up there.
And meanwhile, I was talking, and you were like, what? Okay, can you do something for me? Whatever you said, sure, yeah. Come upstairs. I have a favor to ask of you.
Yeah, it's just... I've never forgotten it. I could just imagine Casimir on the mountain being like, hello? Where is everybody? But now we finally got a raven up there.
Yeah. So yeah, you got 2 days to get the response for that. And officially, Serena has not abandoned Casimir. It's official now.
Yay! If he's dead, well, that sucks. But at least she didn't forget about him.
Yeah. A little part of me was really wondering if we were going to get all the way to Castle Ravenloft, and you just would have kept forgetting to get Casimir a message.
Oh, you know what would have been really comical is if she got all the way back to Castle Ravenloft. Strahd showed up. They had the big epic fight and battle, and then Strahd's dead. Everything happened. Blah 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 blah. And then all at the very very end, Serena's like, "Oh, Casimir's still on the mountain."
Credits roll.
Credits roll. I know.
And that's the next 30 episode campaign that we do. Finding Casimir.
Finding Casimir.
She never did get to go home. She went to the mountains of Barovia to find her long lost friend. And then it turns into a mystery.
Yeah. And then only to find out that he had been long dead.
The end.
The end.
Took us 30 sessions to get there, but...
Yeah. But anyway, okay, so a lot happened. A lot of heart feelings and stuff like that. It'll be interesting to see what happens next. And poor Esmeralda.
Yeah.
Serena just kind of stole her man, but what are you gonna wait? She showed up too late.
Yeah, she'll be fine.
She showed up too late.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she don't need no man to be who she is.
She don't need no man.
Mm-hmm. So
neither does Serena, but
Yeah, but
Yeah.
You wanted it. She wanted it.
That's what ended up happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, we didn't plan it. Just sort of.
It's just like, it happened. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Oops.
Here we are. Yeah, and so think about what you're gonna do on your downtime for your next 7 days, because we got a couple weeks. This is Thanksgiving week that we are recording this, so enjoy your Thanksgiving and all the holiday goodies that come with it.
Too.
I hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving too. If whenever this comes out, this might come out after Thanksgiving. It probably will come out after Thanksgiving, but we hope you had a great Thanksgiving. And that'll do it. And any closing thoughts before we go off to Turkey Day?
What the heck is gonna happen with Serena and Ismark's relationship? They're like a doomed couple now.
Maybe. I guess we'll see. Goodbye, everyone. All right, that's it.